It was 4th of June, 2011. 4,000 feet up in a hill, 150 kilometers north of Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia. If you can imagine, it's clear blue skies, and I thought it was an auspicious day to take my camera along with me. You could see miles and miles ahead of rolling hills, beautiful sceneries, and as I was putting my camera and pointing towards a snow-capped mountain in the distance, and I heard a sound in the back, whoosh! And I turned around and I thought what it was. And there it was, an eagle. It was just shearing across. And as a photographer, I would automatically point my camera to the eagle. And as I was doing that, I failed to realize that I was near to a cliff. It was 10 meters down, and it was gravel. And I slipped. And I rolled down 10 meters down, and I fell. And as I fell, I heard, and I still could hear a crack. And I was lying flat on the ground, and I was shearing in pain. And I was doing that. I was trying, as what we normally would, I was trying to get up, and I couldn't. And I put my hands on my legs, and I couldn't feel my legs. And I realized at that point in time that waist down I was paralyzed because I actually snapped one of my backbones. It was the most horrifying pain that you can ever imagine. It is not invisible, but it's there. And lucky for me, I was with other people, and they got an ambulance, which in Mongolia it's difficult to get to, so I had to wait in pain on the ground. And when the ambulance got there, they put me on the ambulance and they gave me morphine, and they took me to the hospital. It was supposed to be the best hospital in Ulaanbaatar. And as they put me on the stretcher and pulled me to the room, every single crack on the floor was just transmitted up to my back. And every time we went through another crack, I could feel another sear of pain right to my back. It was a horrifying experience. And when we got to the hospital, they wanted to do an X-ray. And being Mongolia, everything depended on money. And so he says, so how much are you going to pay for this X-ray? So my tour guide gave him some money. I had no idea how much he gave him. And they went through this room and they took some photographs. And I can't remember what exactly happened, but they took lots of photographs using the X-ray machines. And I was just lying in bed for 2 whole days. Nobody spoke English. Everybody spoke Russian or Mongolian, and I couldn't understand a bit of it. And so I called my wife back in New Zealand, and she called the insurance company. And the insurance company decided that they would evacuate me to the closest country in Mongolia where I could travel without a visa on a New Zealand passport. So they sent an ambulance that came to Mongolia, picked me up, and I was transported to Hong Kong. It was a 7-hour journey from Mongolia to Hong Kong. And it took 4 different stops. And every time they stopped, somebody will come in and have a look. Are you all right? Obviously I'm not. I'm strapped with all those medical equipment. And the Chinese guy will walk back out and says, okay, drop your passport, here we go. And then the next stop comes in the same thing. And every time they had to stop, they had to refuel the plane because it's a small plane. So eventually I ended up in Hong Kong. They took me to the hospital. This time it was really nice. There were no cracks on the floor. And everyone spoke English. And so the doctor looked at the X-ray and said, there's something strange about this X-ray. And I asked him, what's so strange about it? Did I not have a crack in my backbone? Oh no, that's not the case. This actually belongs to a pregnant woman. And I said, no, there must be a mistake because they did take X-rays and I did pay for it. Well, you may have paid for it, but this is not your X-ray. So eventually, apparently in Mongolia, they take money and they just duplicate your X-rays and give it to somebody else. So I had to go through the same process of X-rays, CT scans, and MRIs, and they decided that I actually had a fractured backbone. And it was so close to breaking because the nerves was pinched, and that's the reason why I couldn't feel my legs, but it wasn't actually broken. It wasn't actually severe. So I was put into a cast, and I was in Hong Kong for a good 1 month until I was able to sit. And then the insurance company put me on a business class. It was really nice. all the way back to to Auckland, and from Auckland to Christchurch, and I was spent another month at Burwood Spinal Unit learning how to walk. So I had to learn how to walk in the sense of holding a frame and taking baby steps every day, and from a frame to crutch, and from crutch to a walking stick, and I was on a walking stick for 2 whole years before I was able to leave my walking stick. And until today, I'm still on painkillers, and I depend on this. Take 6 pills a day, and I depend on that because without the painkillers, my legs will start shaking and I'll be extremely painful. So the next time you walk out on the street and you find someone without a cast in their arms, without holding a crutch, or someone who's not walking with a limp, just think about it. Not everyone is pain-free, and some of the pain you can't see because it's invisible. Like myself, I've gone through this for 6 whole years, and I have no idea how many more years I'll be dependent on these pills, but it is the thing that keeps me going. And every time I see someone walking on the street, I think to myself, is he suffering from an invisible pain? Check.